When I was 10 years old, my parents took me to an amusement park. Uncle Bob's Wicked and Wild Water Park, it was called. Like any kid that age would be, I was thrilled. But there weren't a lot of rides I was allowed to go on, I realized once we were there. Being small for my age meant waiting in a lot of lineups, only to get to the front to find out I didn't meet the minimum height requirement for whatever ride I wanted to go on, which was all of them. It was a hot day, and after spending the entire morning going on boring kiddie rides, I spotted a section of the park I hadn't explored yet. There were slides and a wave pool in there, most of which I would actually be allowed to use, judging by the other kids my size in there. "Can we go in there, Mom?" I asked, pointing at that section of the park. The sounds of kids splashing and playing in the cold water could be heard from the other side of the fence, like a cold glass of iced tea sitting just out of reach. "We're heading home in a minute or two. Sorry, kiddo." "Come on, please. Just the wave pool." My mom looked at my dad, considering it. "Well," my dad grumbled. What the hell? The kid did get the short end of the stick today." He'd seen me attempt a few different long lineups, only to be turned away after hours of waiting in the hot sun. This was in the days before they started putting out the signs with the height requirements before the lineup. After going down a couple water slides, my parents gave me permission to go in the wave pool by myself, as long as I was careful. "Stay in the shallow end, okay?" my mom said, looking worried. "And make sure we can see you at all times." "He'll be fine, Lynn. The boy had his swimming lessons, remember?" My dad didn't look worried, as he sat down on a reclining beach chair and closed his eyes, putting his hat over his face to take a nap. "I'll keep an eye on you. Just stay close, okay?" my mom said. I nodded, wandering off into the cool blue water of the wave pool, blending in amidst a crowd of people. It started off fine. I jumped up and down as the waves came rolling in, staying close to the shallows so my mom could see me. I waved at her a few times and she smiled, finally sitting down and picking up a magazine which she glanced at occasionally. I started getting bored with the shallow water though, and began wading in deeper. Being a good swimmer, I felt confident that if I needed to tread water for a few minutes, I could. But I still wanted to stay where I could touch the bottom. I wasn't that confident yet. Treading water, I saw the waves start to rise higher, and I looked back to see my mom reading her magazine. She was immersed in an article now by the looks of it, and my dad was passed out fast asleep. The waves rose up higher and higher, and I was laughing and having fun at first, still unafraid. But then, when the waves stopped, I looked back and my mom was so far away all of a sudden. She was just a tiny speck off in the distance, and I realized that the waves had carried me in, further into the deep end of the pool. Trying to reach my feet down to touch the bottom, I couldn't get close. My head bobbed underneath the waves briefly, and water went up my nose, the chlorine burning my sinuses. Immediately terrified, I started swimming back towards the shore. But there were so many people crowding into the pool now, and I couldn't get through. A huge tour group of people who spoke a different language and didn't understand a word of what I was saying were suddenly pressing in all around me. They ignored my pleas for help as I started thrashing at the water, my legs and arms growing tired. I tried to push past them, but they were all talking amongst themselves, not understanding that I was almost at the point of drowning now. The loud voices all around me drowned out my rising screams. The group began to laugh and jostle each other, splashing me in the face as the waves rose up higher and higher, rolling into me with so much unexpected force that my head went under each time, and I sucked in water through my nose that stung my sinuses and filled my lungs with liquid. I struggled and kicked, with my legs feeling like heavy blocks of wood, and I started to scream. only to have my calls for help drowned out by the excited cries of joy from all around me. My head started going under the water again and again, with the massive waves hammering me constantly, until eventually, I went under and didn't come back up again. I realized I was drowning as I drifted downwards to the bottom of the pool, the water in my lungs like cement shoes dragging me deeper. I remember looking up at the hundreds of kicking feet above. Never in my life had I felt so terrified as I hit the floor, my arms and legs waving and kicking, but gaining no purchase. Much later on, many years after all this, Uncle Bob's Wicked and Wild Waterpark got in a lot of trouble for their wave pool. It turns out that it was flawed, the oversized waves creating an insidious undertow which dragged swimmers in deeper with each cycle, and dragged them under as well. Many of them, like me, were soon out of their depths. Literally. Several people drowned in the wave pool at Uncle Bob's over the years. Settlements and payments were handed out, meaning that the park could stay open, the titular owner never bothering to fix the problem at the heart of the wave pool, the overclocked engine which produced waves far bigger than should have been possible. But as a 10-year-old kid, I knew none of this. I just sank deeper and deeper into the water, hoping someone had seen me go under. As it turns out, my mom was a hell of a swimmer. She dove into the water after flipping the bird to the lazy lifeguards who refused to help. Just as the world was beginning to turn gray around the edges, I felt her grab onto me as she dragged me up towards the surface. Once we were on dry land, I coughed up a lungful of water and breathed a sigh of relief that someone had seen me go under. It turned out my mom had looked up a short while after I'd lost sight of her. She'd seen me struggling and tried to get the attention of the teenage lifeguards on duty, but they were too busy flirting with each other to care, so she'd gone in herself. Looking back, it's no wonder that place got shut down later on. It was a class action lawsuit just waiting to happen. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if there was one and we missed the payout. Either way, I'm glad I survived my day at Uncle Bob's, and my experience at the water park there. I'll never swim again after that day, and I'll sure as hell never get into another wave pool. Those waves always look like fun, until the day they drag you under.
Become a channel member today for early access, bonus videos, and special emojis only available to members. Check out the description below or click the join button for more info. If you'd like another way to help support the channel, please consider joining my Patreon page at patreon.com/JordanGroupeHorror. As a patron, you'll get access to bonus videos and content. You'll be credited at the end of every video going forward, and if you decide to stay for 3 months, I'll name a character after you which will be featured in a Hollow's End story. Links to join the Patreon are in the description. Thanks everyone for listening. Please like, subscribe, and comment to help the channel continue to grow. And see you again next time at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hope you have a great night.